outside, and it was like football weather. Big week, 9 at the Boneyard. Excited about it. Back in Dowdy-Ficklin, Thursday night football again, and seems like that's the new norm for us right now. But 7:30 ESPN, and all those activities on campus this weekend, Sports Center, and just I know our players excited to be back in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium in front of our fans and in front of our student section. I know our students on fall break right now, resting up so they can pack the Boneyard on Thursday night. But kind of going back, it's kind of weird these Thursday night games. You go back and recap a game that took place 4 days ago when you're actually closer to the next game that's in 3 days. But just going back and recapping last Thursday night down in New Orleans, I thought really like it's a little bit of two different halves. The first half is 12-0. And I thought defensively played some good red zone defense, holding the field goals. I always tell the defense, if you just hold the field goals throughout a game, you got a chance to win the ball game. Thought we did that in the first half, and we didn't let it get away from us, which we certainly could have in the first half. And offensively, just couldn't get the run game going. We took some negative plays in there, took a few sacks in there, and just hard to dig out of that. Since it's a good team, a good defense in Tulane, and I think the field position really was key in the first half, and they obviously won that. Had a fake punt called there. I think the score was 9-0. It was a 4th and 1, and just didn't think we had the exact look we had practiced. If they let their defense out there, and my mindset was kind of if we didn't get that fake there, you go down 16-0. I was like, hey, we just don't need to do anything silly here. We need to keep this within reach at halftime and regroup at halftime and come out. And I thought in the second half we certainly did. And until the last drive there, I think we outscored them 19-7 offensively. Got the ball moving, got connected there down the field to Anthony. Was able to push it, got some protection there, so able to push the ball down the field to him. Caden certainly, playing his tail off right now. Not necessarily through the air the other night, but just kind of when things were covered up, tucked the ball and scrambled around and got in the end zone one time. And then Brock on another play out wide. Thought Yannick Smith did an exceptional job on both those plays, just blocking down the field to help those guys get free. So Marlio got his first start the other night at right tackle. Bryce Weaver had surgery last week, so he's going to miss several weeks here. So we had Marlio in there, and I thought he did a pretty decent job for his first start. And he's still growing. He's going to grow every single game and move forward there. But defensively, I thought we had a big turnover in the goal line down there. Teagan recovered that and made some plays there. And until the last drive, I think they were 0 of 7 on third down, so they hadn't converted one all night. And then I think they converted 3 on the last drive of the game. And which is just we should go back and take one of those back, but you can't ever go back and redo it. And then the end of the game situation, you always know the kick line. I think the time's running down there. You got the 2-minute warning. You got 3 timeouts. You've been able to save your timeouts there. Your offense is moving the ball, so you feel pretty good about that. The kick line, we don't get them. They have a sprint out, throw the ball in the flat. Don't get them stopped on 3rd and 4 there, which I thought was key. And then hit them for a loss. It's getting ready to bring up 2nd and 12. And still got some timeouts there, and we get the face mask penalty. And thought that was a crucial penalty. So now they are inside of the 15-yard line. I thought when they're at the 30-yard line, we're going to try to play some defense there and make them kick the long field goal. Their field goal kicker was exceptionally good. I think he's 4 for 4 on the night. Had really good range. You see him kick the ball on the kickoff. Really good leg. When you get the ball inside the 15, you got one of two choices, and that's let them bleed you out, die the slow death, let them kick the field goal at the end of the game, and they beat you that way. Or, which I've never done, probably in my, I don't know how many years of coaching college football or high school football, let the other team score, get the ball back to your offense, which is what we tried to do there. We tried to do it the previous play, and just had a mishap there, and do it the next snap and get the ball back to our offense. And they worked the ball down the field and getting in position to throw a Hail Mary there at the end of the game. With 7 seconds on the clock, and the thing's actually a lot closer than I realized on the field. Watching it again last night, I think Yannick's their guy actually mistimes his jump. Yannick's got it timed up pretty good back there, and JC comes in there trying to make a play as well, and just gets enough piece of the ball deflected out of Yannick's hands. So, but all in all, you got to take care of business way before that. We talked to our players about how we're going to take care of business, and really sat down with them Saturday about couple things. Where are we at right now? Where are we at this point in the season? 6 games in, 2 games in the conference. Where do we want to go, and how are we going to get there? We're 1-1 in conference. The goal is be 1-0 this week. The goal is go beat a good Tulsa team this week. Coming into our place and be 1-0. and then how are we going to get there? And how we're going to get there is just a process. We talk about that all the time. You don't change, how you do things. You got to be sharper about how you do things. You got to clean up the things you do. You got to fix the things you do. Well, that's always the case whether you win or lose. You always got to go back to work and press harder. But that's the process we focus on, and how we do anything, how we do everything. And the big focus is just even playing harder than we played, and keep going at it and see if we can't turn the page and come on the right side of this thing. So our opponent, Tulsa is coming to town, coached by Trey Lamb. Trey's a good friend of mine, known him for a long time. He was at Mercer. I think he played quarterback at Tennessee Tech. He came to the stadium 2 years ago, brought his team, Gardner Webb team, in here in 23. He was at ETSU after that for a year, and then is in his first year at Tulsa. They have a pretty good ground game, doing a good job on the ground, averaging over 150 on rushing. Number 21, Dominique Richardson, is the kid that's kind of leading the rushing attack there. I think he's second in the conference in rushing. The quarterback, Baylor Hayes, he brought with him from East Tennessee State. He's a Nashville kid, I believe, doing a really good job just operating the offense, getting the ball out there, has some quarterback run game into him. And then the best receiver is kind of a kid out of Charlotte, Chambers High School, Zon Booker, who was at Western Carolina with Jordy, and then transferred out there to Tulsa. Defensively, Josh Reardon is his defense coordinator, who's also his defense coordinator at Gardner Webb and at East Tennessee State. They're playing more four-man front this year than he has in the past. I think the D-line is probably the strength of his defense. They play physical. They play hard, run the football. Number 11, Burnett, I think he's got 6 sacks, so I think he's top of the conference. He's kind of a guy to watch out for. They rotate several guys in there. The linebacker, number 0, Ray Conley, is a guy from East Tennessee State, brought with him as well, who's their leading tackler. And then the corner, Elijah Green, I think he's got 5 picks, which probably leads the country. So very aggressive defense. It flies around. Coach Lamb will take some, he'll play aggressive, whether it's onside kicks, fake punts, fake field goals, whatever it may be. I think he tried one here in 23. So we always got to be alert and be ready to be on our toes there and be ready to go. So excited about the night, excited about being back home and getting another opportunity to, bounce back and get back to what we know and as Pirate football, and make everybody in our program and our fan base proud, and our players ready to get this bad taste out of their mouth for sure. So at this time, we'll open it up for questions.
Coach, with the offense right now, it's like almost about half. Like they get unstoppable or make mistakes. How do you get them to be more consistent?
Yeah, you're consistent. That's the key word. We talked about that this morning in our team meeting. Talked about it outside just a few minutes ago. And it's really just going back to what your culture is and what your your foundation is, and going back to those points. And the big thing, if you look up, hey, we took a negative play here. We get to the first drive, we get to 3rd and 1, and Marlio sticks his hand down late. Have a false start there, and then we get to a 3rd and 4. The Serial jumps off sides, back them up, and just putting yourself in situations hard to execute. But at the same time, you flip it over. I say, hey, like if you just play a little harder, strain a little harder, instead of it being 1st and goal from the 11-yard line, we're going to make that final block that gets T.J. Engelman into the end zone. So those have really been our focus points of, hey, helping us move the ball. And really both sides of the football, not just offense, but both sides of the football. I thought TJ had an exceptional night the other night, showed you that he's making some really good cuts in there. Looks like a true running back. Him and Marlon continue to do their thing in there, and I think that'll help us grow down the road. I thought Cooper, probably played his best game up front of the season, but we got to get more guys to be consistent, and that's on both sides of the football, including the offense, that will help us move the ball consistently and play well both halves.
With so many teams in this conference, at least 500 or above 500,
yeah.
2 of them are ranked. I mean, where do you feel like the strength of overall competition level of this conference?
Yeah, I think the American Conference is really up from what it has been the last several years, to be honest, and that's from top to bottom. You're looking at 2 teams that are ranked in, Memphis and USF. Tulane, I'm not sure why they're not ranked. To me, the only team they've lost to is the number 4 team in the country, which is Ole Miss. USF, the only team they lost to is number 2 team in the country, which is Miami. Tulane's beat a Northwestern, who just beat Penn State. They beat a Duke, who's obviously only has 1 or 2 losses as well. So they should be up there. North Texas, you could make arguments for them. Navy, you can make arguments for them. So I think overall, top to bottom, a really good conference, really good competition, and I think that's good for football. I think it's good for the American Conference. But our focus got to be on us and what we're doing and going about our business and making sure we're ready to ride week in and week out. Because that's what you want. You want to go out there and play good football teams, and certainly we got to perform our best and be one of those good football teams.
I know you kind of mentioned it with TJ before. He had the kind of guy you guys going on the run game the other night.
Yeah.
Does it still remain? What's kind of your evaluation of the running back room? Does it still remain kind of an open competition for who's the guy?
Yeah, those guys are starting to separate themselves. I think we talked about earlier in the week just how can we help our guys play with the best effort they can play with. Strain the extra strain. And one of the ways to do that is obviously keep your scheme simple so they can go play fast and play hard. But the other is make sure everybody's fresh. And I think in the running back room, TJ coming along allows us the ability to do that. But I think he's certainly starting to separate himself a little bit in there. He's just making some cuts, some natural cuts, and falling forward and doing some things there that maybe the other guys haven't quite done yet. And I think they all have the ability to do it. They just got to go do it on game day. So overall proud of TJ, not only what he was doing in the run game, but also catching the ball out the backfield as well, doing a great job on special teams. So he continues to bust his tail every single day.
Coach, it seems like you guys ran some more tempo in the red zone this week, and in return saw more red zone success. So yeah, something you guys continue to do, and they can't get too much away. But what was
Yeah, I think tempo. You got to know how to use the tempo. We actually won the time of possession the other night. Some people think just because you go tempo, you're going to be out there offensively about 20 minutes and be out there defensively about 40 minutes. But I think we won the time possession by 30 seconds or a minute or so. But there's a key situation. You got the defense tired. They have some really good D linemen that you're trying to keep those guys in there when they're tired. And it's a chance to opportunity to go tempo in there and just keep them on the field. And especially if you're hitting some positive plays. I mean, you got them on their heels, so to speak. So you want to continue to attack. No different than a boxer would, or no different than you would, certain scenarios in life. But I thought we'll do that and continue to do that and use some different different tempos as well, whether it be shifts, motions, movements, or huddle speed break or tempo. We got down there at the 1 yard line. We're trying to tempo them as well, and they zeroed out and just didn't think it was the right time to run inside zone. So we tried to change up personnels, and had guys going every which way, and Darius thinks he hears a clap and slides the ball between his legs, and we had a penalty there. So again, that's an opportunity where we missed. We only got 3 out of it instead of 7, and obviously love to have that back. So we got to do a better job of executing and being more consistent about how we do things down there. When it's probably the most important part of the field.
The other side of things, defensively in the red zone, you guys made a lot of stops, 5 or 6 on the game. What was it inside that kind of made the defense buckle down there?
I joke around with them, said they couldn't run by you anymore, but they made 5 stops down there in the first half, and the only touchdown of the game really, besides the one you kind of let them slide in, is the long ball over the middle on P and 10 there. That we need to get down and get tackled, but I thought they just bowed their back. Just did a good job of keeping the ball in front of us all night, being consistent about that. We talked about taking the run attack away, which I thought we did. I think they had 101 yards rushing. The quarterback didn't have any. He had one scramble. I think we got outside the pocket about 7 yards. But other than that, I thought we did a pretty good job keeping the run game in front of us, which was their strength, and making them go to throwing the ball. I thought Retzloff had a pretty good night throwing the ball. We got to do a better job with our hook players getting up and playing those guys and doing some things there. And I think some of that, maybe we need to be more aggressive and make sure we take the ball out of the quarterback's hands a little quicker. But in the red zone, I thought we buckled down, locked in, and did a pretty good job holding the field goals down there.
Coach, you buy into the fact that some teams just find a way to win because of maybe the maturity of the team. Like Tulane didn't play all that great the other night, but they ended up with the victory. And then down the line, your team may be the same way.
You gotta learn to win. Okay, and we talk about winning's not easy, and regardless of who it's against, you better celebrate it and enjoy it and all those things. And you got to find a way to make a play, and that comes with experience, that comes with confidence. All those things kind of add up together, and we got to continue to push the envelope on that, and and push forward and see if we can find ways to make a play, find ways to win a ball game. And then once you do one, it kind of becomes consistency. And if we can build that consistency, then that's when you see a good football team down the road, and they win close games. And we need to continue to build that so we win those close ones.
I was just curious. next-year zone with the delay game, did you talk with the conference? Like, because it looked like they kind of jumped the neutral zone as well. Like, is there anything the refs could have done?
Yeah. The nickel, the Sam's actually coming across the line of scrimmage to sub that way. So we hadn't got we'll get the explanation back today of all that. Looks like the D tackles, barking something. I didn't see any hand clap on, Darius thinks he hears a hand clap. I studied the film to make sure we see a hand clap because that's what I was yelling about. You're right there next to the student section, so who knows what all was going down there. But, haven't got the explanation back yet. But it's just, that's a frustrating one because you're so close and have an opportunity there to kind of stick one in and, and you missed it.
When you look at Tulsa, I know they had Hayes as the quarterback for a bit, and then Francis gets the start of the Memphis game. I know he's the one who played here 2 years ago. Does their offense look any different, one guy versus the other?
No. And Trey's going to be an outside zone guy, play action shots down the field. He's going to formation you a lot of FIB, which means 3 receivers into the boundary. Gives you a lot of shifts, maybe some unbalance, those type of things. A little bit of trickery. If you got bad eyes, you don't do a great job with that. You're not disciplined. He's going to take advantage of that. So, that's kind of consistent with his offense. They're going to run some tempo at certain times in the game. They're going to huddle at certain times in the game and change those things up. So, I think, you see it early in the Tulane game. You see it a little bit early in the Memphis game. He does a good job with the opening scripts, opening drives, and catching guys in their heels. And, in the Navy game, I thought he had a chance to go up 21-14 and fumble the football. And then Navy goes down and scores and kind of, Navy kind of pulled away with it from there. But I thought early in the game, they've attacked people and done a good job of that. And, just a little bit of what we just talked about is like they got to find ways to be more consistent and finish games as well, just like we do. So, should be a good football game and up for the challenge.
Any other questions for Coach?
Ask me about the onside kick.
What went into that? If you didn't do it, I'm talking.
Yeah. So I called the onside. I should have left the fake punt on, to be honest. No, it was really just like, hey, we score. It's like 7-12. We score again. It's 13-12. You got 2 choices there. You can kick the extra point, go up 14-12. You're up by 2. Or you knew, hey, it's a tight ball game. It wasn't a high-scoring game. You know it was kind of a low-scoring game, so you kind of take the point. You can take the 2, so you go up by 3 there, and we missed only a 2-point opportunity. But I thought like the momentum was in our way, and I thought it was a good opportunity for us to try to squeeze a onside kick in there. If you don't recover it, you're giving the ball at the 35 anyways. I thought defensively we've done a pretty good job all night. And just, Keelan Robinson did a really good job. I thought Everett Scott did a good job on the kick, and Keelan Robinson did a good job hustling his butt down the field and recovering that thing. And, actually had that thing the 2nd and 1 and tossed the ball out to London. He picks it up and got a hold out there. You'd like to see that thing go convert to 7. That's the big, the only disappointing piece. You do get 3 points out of it, puts you up 16-12 there in the third. But you would like to see that thing go. And that's, had 2 early third quarter touchdowns. You'd like to see that one go up to put you 21. You'd like to see the one on the goal line put you up to 28. And then you feel like you scored 28 points in the ball game. The way we're playing, pretty consistent defense right now, you feel like you got a chance to win a ball game. So, was that really your question, or?
Thursday night again, chance prime time. I just don't think he's.
Yeah, I think Thursday night games are you kind of like. Your days get thrown off a little bit. We're sitting here on a Monday 4 days ago talking about a game that happened 4 days ago, and you got a game 3 days away. So it's kind of a little bit, different about that aspect of it. But the fact you get to be, at home, especially, I think playing on the road on Thursday night is not it's challenging. It's not the funnest. But playing at home, I think, is pretty special. And then the opportunity for your university, your program to be on national TV again. And people tune in for that. I think the American Conference talks about it all the time. The majority of their viewership comes on Thursday nights, and this will be the 3rd Thursday night in a row. We've been on ESPN, the 4th this year, and the last this year. And then you got a bye week coming up after this, and then you got 5 straight games, conference games in November. But the most important one's the next one, and got to get back to 1-0 and just trust in the process and what we do and how we do things this week. And thank you to our fans that keep sticking in there with us. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday in Dowdy, Night of the Boneyard. Thanks.